Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to International Racing Team. My name is IRT Indigo, and today I was presenting you the stream for IRT Esports event for round 5 at the Qatar Grand Prix with all the esports team which are shown in play, all 10 teams. So it's nice to see the full grid once again after a little bit of a few teams missing last time out. But today there's 19 drivers, so not 20. And today joining me is IRT Julian Janssen.
Hello, hello, hello.
How you
How
doing,
are
mate? You
you
alright?
doing? Yeah, I'm alright. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you, mate. Your second commentary, so how are you feeling for this?
Um, I'm looking forward to it. It's my second time, so I'm not expecting very much of it, but I'll try my best.
Yeah, he's talking in terms of commentary because it's only his second ever time commentating, so just excuse him if he does. Yeah, it's alright because I know for the first time commentating you get a bit nervous and it can be overwhelming. So just try your best tonight, mate, and hopefully you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, I'll always enjoy it with you. I'm
Thank you,
always
mate.
enjoying that.
Yeah,
Quick
cheers, mate.
drivers tonight.
You've raced around Qatar before. How do you feel for this circuit? Do you enjoy it?
I haven't done one race around Qatar.
Have you not?
No, I didn't race in Qom. I think Qom was it? No, I didn't drive. So I haven't done one race, but yeah, you're losing a big amount of ERS. So let's see who. Um, how do you say that?
Who can preserve the most US?
Yes, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly, exactly.
we'll find out because I know this is a power training circuit. I've commentated I think twice now for Qatar around here. First introduced back in 2004 with MotoGP circulating around here. So if you do see some runoff areas, well if you do see an outside line, that's because MotoGP they usually take that outside line if they pick up a penalty for exceeding track limits. So they take that wide line. It's called a ride through penalty. I think it is around the outside if you pick up warnings, and that's why you'll see at the exit like turn 10 where they go all the way around the outside to serve their ride through penalty. But yeah, this could be an interesting one tonight. Obviously in F1 we do it differently. We don't go around the outside of the track, we just have the penalty and carry it all the way to the end if you pick up those extended track limits. So we're going to go on board with Belby as he's the first one out of the circuit. And hello everybody in the chat, it's nice to see you all here. Grand Track 10 is in the comment section, so hopefully you're doing alright. Urpec Pole says Harley, so let's see what Urpec could do as we make our way down into turn 1, then flick it in at the 50-meter board, down into 4th gear, up into 5th immediately to short shift, bring it over to the left, all the way to the right, flick it in once again, taking a wide angle through there, back on the right hand side, using all the track available. So nice fast flow in there for Belby. He raced yesterday I think, but he did suffer a bit back in USA, so hopefully it's a change of fortune for Belby, because last time out in USA it wasn't great for him. That's what I was talking about at turn number 6. You can see the outside line they take to serve their penalty, and now we're coming out of the corner, and let's see then how he does in the first sector. So we're flicking through here into this right hander, and now we use all the outside track we could get away with. But I have forgot the corner numbers by the way, so I'm a bit rusty with that one. Haven't done my full research. So oh, it's a bit too wide there for
Ooh,
Balby. You saw that, didn't you, Julian?
yep, I saw it.
It's a
Went a
shame
bit too
there.
deep into the corner and invalidated. I think he's still finishing his lap, so he gets a lap time in. Most important is drivers are in the way all over the place. Oh, and that's
No!
who is that? One of the. I think it was a Williams, right?
It was Oni in P16. He was on his outlap, so I don't think he was aware that an Alpine was coming at him at a rate of knots. So luckily, there's no penalty given out. So they're very lucky to escape that one, unless I didn't see it on the track because I did flick through the comment section after that crash happened. So already in this qualifying session, there is a bit of controversy already, and yeah, not great for those two teams. But luckily, they're both still in qualifying. Belby there was just staying out. He was just still on his lap to have to just explore the limits around here, invalidating a lap time. Just get a feel for the track. IRT Leroy round in the final corner with DRS open. There's an AlphaTauri in front of us. Let's see what he does. It's Fraser with a 20.7. Leroy will displace him. Nope, with a 20.8 he goes and he puts his car into P2. There's another AlphaTauri he's about to cross the line now, and let's see who that is. And it's Jimmy who goes into P3 with a 20.8. to 36.0, so not a representative lap time for him, as Giovanno goes into P1 immediately with a 20.6. So Jimmy there must have made a mistake somewhere, but still continued on his lap to go for a second lap time, I presume. Twisted coming around the line now. P4 it is, a 21.2, with the Williams coming very closely. Is that Izu in P13? Yes, it is. It's him who goes into P5 with a 21.5. 3:10 separates 4th place and 5th then. So we've got lap times coming in. I presume other people around here have validated too. Bob Pierre P4, Vita in P6 there in the Red Bull with a 21.4 then, and TJ Boss goes up into P3 with a 20.8 in the Ferrari.
Looking good. I think what you said is luckily he didn't get a penalty, but I think for next race there will be qualifying ban if that will be reported.
Yeah, gotta be very careful around here. Fast flowing track, needs to get out of the way for all the guys oncoming. Last time out, Ferrari had a great race. They finished in P2 with Kwiatkowski, but he's not here tonight. It's TJ Boss who is racing. Has he got a teammate? Yeah, Kwiatkowski is here, and he goes into, where'd he go? He just popped up the order somewhere. No, he stayed in P18. He's in the pit lane. Is Kwiatkowski? Erpeg, what's he doing in the Aston Martin for NLR? And kart racer, he won last time out in Abu Dhabi. So Aston Martin with NLR, can they keep this up as well? Crucial for the championship's sake, because they're second place in the championship. ETA are currently leading the way. And can NLR close that deficit? They're fighting CPI, but Erpek is in the pit lane then, so he will not continue. Anybody else out there?
RCR Sony F1. He's on mediums. I don't know why he's doing that. But...
Yeah, medium compound tyres not really used in qualifying, but let's see if he's just doing some long runs on those set of compound tyres, maybe just doing the one lap and diving into the pit lane, but looks like he's put some more fuel in the car to go for multiple runs on those set of mediums. You don't really see the strategy enforced anymore on the medium compound tyres, so let's see then if he's just doing a few banker runs and just trying to get a feel for the track, maybe he's saving some set of soft compound tyres. But as you can see, about 6 or 7 drivers haven't set a lap time, and those guys down there like Kwiatkowski, who won last time out in Abu Dhabi, did a great job as well, hasn't set a lap time either. So only F1 is coming around towards the line now with a 25.8, and yeah, second lap on the mediums. We're constantly doing that. He's turned off the ERS as well, so not really pushing, just driving out there to just go for a Sunday drive before we get to the serious stuff on the soft compound tyres. So we've got some people on their outlets like Oni and Belby there. I'm not quite... Oh, TJ Boss has left the session, unfortunately.
Maybe he disconnected or something. Maybe Sony F1 didn't practice and he's doing some laps to get used to the track. I don't know any other reason why he would do this, but interesting.
Yeah, 8 minutes gone. He hasn't got a representative lap time, just to bank with a 25.8. Constantly going around on those mediums just to get some long pace in. So he's already sacrificing a set of mediums. So Oni there, was he the one that got in the way for another driver? Yep. It was him.
Yeah, I think. Where's LDL in the standings?
They're currently in P5.
Yeah, P5. So. If that's a qualifying ban, if that will be reported, that's not ideal for LDL.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if LDL only knew that he was on a lap time or not, but he heads into turn 1 himself then, so hasn't got a lap time on the board, and Erpek is in the pit lane still. Kwiatkowski is on his outlap then, so those drivers further down the field that were up there last time out, NLR doing a great job so far holding that first place, but in the background I did see Mercedes get very close to another driver, which was an Alfa Romeo. So that's IRT Leroy there getting close. Is that Alfa Romeo behind? I can't quite tell. Yeah, it is. It's an Alfa Romeo. So those two got close for comfort. Was that Twisted, who's also on his outlap? So both cars racing on their outlaps there. But go back on board with LDL Oni as he's flicking through now into this fast section. Into the left-hander we go of turn number 12 before we head off into the flat out right-handers, and it's so incredible to watch these Formula 1 cars go flat out here through turn 12, 13, and now we're heading into turn 14. TJ Boss has internet connection issues. Here we are in turn 14, and a bit of hesitation. I was so close there to invalidation, but thankfully keeps it intact as we head into the final corner for Oni as he makes his way out of it now. Clean exit for him, but hesitation there going into turn number 14, sorry, as we head towards the line. It's going to be a 21.4, puts his car ahead of his teammate there. It is Aizu in P10 then, as he's currently on a flying lap, but Belby out there on a lap who's just invalidated, unfortunately for him, so he's got plenty of time. So is Quartz in P15, so those two have invalidated on their second attempts, Julian.
Yep, as I'm on board with NLR Gifano, who is professional pole. Don't think this will be the time for pole position. He is 1.5 tenths up in the first sector. Nice slide, early on throttle. Third gear into fourth, sixth now. Nice wide apex from the outside to the inside. Oh, a little bit of oversteer on the exit. Managed to keep it into turn number 11, I think it is. You don't want to invalidate on the outside there, as he now is in sector 2 into sector 3, 2.5 tenths up his own time. Full throttle, like you said. And here into the final corner, nice apex from Gifano as he goes with onto the straight, DRS wide open onto the line. It's gonna be a 1:20.392. That's a very good lap.
Wow, what a lap time there for Giovanni. 2.5 tenths he found on his flying lap there. So he extends pole once again. His margin over second place Fraser. Let's see what he's doing in P2. 1 tenth up in that. Ooh, that was so close there for Fraser to almost invalidate it, but keeps it in the confines of the white lines there as he makes his way now towards the line. What can it be? A 20.5. I wonder, did he lose a bit of time? No, he gained a bit of time in that final sector. Ferrari coming towards the line now. And was that Kowski, P19. Look at Nicolopi, who goes up into P2. Brandox for ETA, so both McLarens have found some pace, but they're just behind the NLR man. Erpek towards the line. Erpek, 20.0! Wow! Mate, he just blitzed it. What a lap time there from Erpek to put it on pole position. Just incredible there from the NLR driver. NLR 1-2, ETA P3, P4, WR P5 and P6 then. So incredible there to be light astern as the esports teams are. But yeah, what an incredible lap time. What about Kakowski? Can he slot in there? Let's see. He's on his lap time now, but looks like he's quite low on the EOS, and I don't think he's on that. I'm not quite sure. He's still pushing, but I think he might be heading off into the pit lane. He hasn't got a lot of EOS at his disposal, so I wonder if he made a mistake on his first lap, gone for a second one, but hasn't paid out for him. So it looks like he'll be heading off into the pit lane very shortly. And he's on the back foot too. P19 is twisted, is also validated, and he hits the wall on the pit entry and heads off into the pit lane too. So close times, Julian. Wow.
Sorry?
Very close times.
Yep. Only Erpek is 3 tenths to P2, but after him it's very close. From P2 till P6 it's 2 tenths. That's pretty close. I saw on TikTok Erpek doing a 0.9 in PCL F2, so yeah, I think he practiced a bit for this, but yeah, he's just quick around this track. Don't think anyone will come to that time. I think a 20.0 will be enough for pole, but we'll see. Interesting qualifying.
We'll see indeed, as majority of drivers then head off into the pit lane to put on their final set of soft compound tyres, except Oni, who's got loads of softs at his disposal because his best lap time is still on the mediums as he finally applies the soft compound tyres then. So let's see what he's got at disposal, what he's got to show us tonight in that Alpine, who's currently with a 25.8, and also Kakowski 24.8. He was low on fuel. I don't think he was fully pushing to, and also low on the EOS. So let's hope he's got some pace to match his teammate there, who's currently in P7. I know Kakowski won in Abu Dhabi last time round, so yeah, he's definitely got some pace, but unfortunately around this circuit it doesn't look like it. But in the final attempt, can he get it all together and try and get that lap time and he needs? On board with Quartz in P17, let's see what he does. Also, yeah, it's a validation for him. Erpek's retired, so
yeah, he thinks it's enough.
Wow, can anybody beat Erpek's time? Is he saving a set of soft compound tyres later on towards the race just in case there's a safety car? That's also another yeah, I can't even think about what I'm going to say now. I just lost it out of my head. Another reason. There we go.
I think he knows 20.0, nobody's gonna get close to that. But we'll see. Yeah, interesting qualifying. Maybe he's saving a set of softs for the race. I think he will, but I don't know what the strat is. Do you know the fastest strategy around Qatar?
I actually don't know. I think it's like the medium hards or hards to mediums. I did commentate a few times around here in Qatar, but still don't know the strategy because safety cars came in and interrupted those races. But we'll find out eventually. And Erpek's there with 3 minutes left to go. Will be sat in the garage alongside us, watching these drivers going for their final attempts.
Yep. As Sony is he on soft? Yeah, he's on soft this time. Wait, let me go on board with him. His first lap time on the softs, as he did 4 laps on the mediums into turn 1. Nice apex. Oh, that was not ideal, but as he invalidates, yeah.
Yeah, the first corner he took, he went a bit wide, had to bail out the throttle, otherwise he would understeer even more. On board Aizu in P11 then, hopefully for him he can get inside the top 10, heading through turn 2 now, and now we're heading through turn number 3, but looks like turn 2 there, I don't know what happened to him, he had to, I'm not quite sure actually, because I didn't really follow through with that, but as we head now into turn number 6, there's a car pot to the apex, he's a few hundreds down in that first sector alone, as the cars around him get out of the way. There's his teammate preparing for the last lap, but I think majority of drivers now out of the circuit and some of them on their laps then, so this will be very interesting towards the end to see who can snatch away pole from Erpek. I don't know if anybody can get close to him, I don't know if that's the case, but Erpek there looking very comfortable, like you said in PSGL F2 you said, he's very fast around the circuit.
Yeah, he's very fast. His teammate Eldio Oni Kitsun, he invalidated his lap, so he was not.
But we've got his teammate now into P11 going around the final corner. He was down in that middle sector, so can he find any time to gain it back in that last sector? With DRS enabled then on this 1 kilometer straight, we head towards the line. Let's see if he can get himself in top 10. And he doesn't. He does improve, but not enough on his positioning. So that's him done and dusted. And there's an Alpine making his way towards the line now. Let's see what he could do. And he crosses the line, doesn't go anywhere. So let's see if anybody else is out there on their lap times. Leroy in P8 on a lap. He's 900s down in that first sector. Roasted him before we got into this qualifier session just a few minutes before. So let's see how he does then on the circuit. As you can see there, nice exit for him. As now we enter the triple right-hander, and let's see them. Should be fully flat, few hundreds up in that middle sector, so not enough to gain a position. Now we're coming into downshift into 6th gear. I think a lot of people take it through 7th in that Pacific part of the track. Then as we head through the final 2 corners, let's see if Leroy has found any time. No, he hasn't, because he goes off the track. I don't know what he did there, but Brandox with 13 seconds left to go just made the line, and Nekelepi has invalidated his lap time, so that's him done and dusted. I don't think he's got anything more to display, and he won't make the line to start another lap time. IRT Bompia crosses the line, and that's it for him. And let's see what Giovanno can do in the Aston Martin. Can he get anywhere near his teammate with the gap being over 3 tenths? So let's see then if Giovanno can try and match his teammate a few hundreds up in that middle sector for him as we enter the triple right-hander then in 7th gear. He stays in 7th gear. Leroy went down to 6th as we enter this left hand as well. So slight lift off the throttle there into turn number 14. Now heading into the final corner we go. Let's see if Giovanno has gained a bit of time on his teammate. Nekelepi stays in P3. What about Giovanno? What can he do in the Aston Martin? He crosses the line now. Let's see what lap time this is. A 20.3, only improved by 300. A Red Bull behind him is about to make his way towards the line. And I don't think he goes anywhere either. What about the Alfa Romeo? Kukowski finally gets the lap time on the board. A representative 1 puts his car into P8 with an AlphaTauri. Fraser, who's just crossed the line too, in P4. His teammate's right behind him too, and I don't think he's improved either. So what about Mercedes Bompia, who displaces Belby, goes into P7. McLaren or Brandox stays in P5, so they don't improve. Some of them don't improve on their last lap, so that's it. It's Erpek on pole.
Yeah, just like I said, 3 tenths to P2. But after P2, it's very close field.
just incredible how close they can get. Someone has to
Wow.
someone has to invite TJ Boss back. He got kicked out and he can't join again, so he's down to P10, and I can't. I'll try and invite you, but I don't know if the formation lap is on, so I'll have to look at
I
the
think information
situation.
lab is on.
Someone mentioned cam settings. Do you want my cam settings, or do you think the cam settings are not great? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Bompia says someone has to drug test Erpec, and Harley says what a lap. And can you invite Fearful 426 Blade? I'll try to, but I don't know if I can or not. Not on this particular part of the screen.
I don't know how to invite him on this screen, mate.
I don't think you can now. I think it's a bit too late. But once we get in the race, is it alright if you invite TJ Boss back?
Um, if the information lab is on, someone can invite him, but he will have a lot of fuel.
Yeah, if
I
the
think you need
formation.
to overfuel with like 3 laps or something. It was like 2.5 or 3 laps because it's almost the whole track full throttle.
Got people in the chat supporting GF10. Let's hope they do great too around this circuit. But what's your predictions then? How do you think the race is going to go?
Wait, let me invite TJ Boss and then I'll make a prediction. TJ Boss 2-3, something like that.
TJ Boss 235.
Alright, I've invited him. The race director. Yeah, I think Airbag will blow away at the start.
The lights are coming on. Oh, no, it's a formation lap. So formation lap is on. 90 drivers as it is, so we can't invite the other one because they can't go into a car, unfortunately, like in qualifying. So let's see the tyre strategies for this race, and let's see what others are going for. So look at that. Majority of hards, barring one, down in P19, which is Alex Ramos in P19 in the Hasted. So not a lot of variables in terms of strategies. A lot going the same way. So hards to mediums is the norm then, and let's see how it all pays out for these drivers. Expect one big DRS trade. Both Aston Martin is in a sweet spot to work together as well, use each other for DRS to keep the rest behind. Fraser separated both ETA drivers. Look at that. McLaren, AlphaTauri, McLaren and AlphaTauri WR and ETA separated each other. Then we've got IRT Bompia representing IRT in P7, RCR Belby, and the two CPI boys of Kukowski and TJ Boss. Kukowski had a great race back at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, but currently down in P9, so maybe not his strongest track. And let's see if he can recover in the race trim himself. TJ Boss, he's been up there like in the past few races. He's had great pace, but something just keeps happening in terms of strategy or incidents. So hopefully he can minimise them, like in Abu Dhabi, and just come back where he needs to be. Because we all know TJ Boss has got some great pace in that Ferrari, but unfortunately not able to display it as some things have happened in the past few races. ILT Leroy in P11 outside the top 10 would have been in a great position if it was a few games ago, as he would have started on the medium compound tyres, the rest of them were the soft compound tyres. But obviously we don't have that rule no more with the tyres in qualifying. Quartz GF10 in P12, Twisted P13, Izumando Amado in P14, another GF10 driver, Vita in P15, Seppi in P16, the Spanish driver. Oni for LDL, both Williams there, P40, P17, and RCR, so only F1 as well in P18, and Alex in P19 too. So all drivers are lining up on the grid then. Erpec will take his first place slot, and let's see how this night race goes here in Qatar. It was a great race in Singapore a few hours ago, and hopefully we'll have one too here in Qatar.
Yeah, as TJ Boss just joined when they're lining up for the grid. What's your prediction?
I think Aston Martin NLR will have the advantage, and I don't want to. I think McLaren and AlphaTauri will have a close race. Look at those two, just lining up behind each other. The AlphaTauris and the McLaren. WR versus ETA, and ETA are currently leading the championship, but NLR are closing with the likes of Erpec and Giovanni in P2 as well. So let's see if those two can close in on the championship.
Oh, what? Parked in a dangerous position. That's restart, I guess.
And he's first currently as he just pulls
Yeah,
away.
but it's disqualify. Yeah, that's a restart.
Oh dear. I don't know what, I don't know how he's done that, but his
So
car's
what's happening
parked,
here?
and yeah, he's been disqualified altogether. So I think we're on for a restart if that is the case, as we're getting ready for the lights. I'll commentate the opening lap just in case if there isn't a restart, but yeah, I've been disqualified myself and not able to take part during the race. I think it happened. Oh, when did this happen? Somebody got disqualified and they weren't able to join back. I can't. It was only if like recently too, but my memory isn't that great, unfortunately, in terms of league racing.
Um, yeah, I think it's because of TJ Boss who just joined lately. Then everybody's on the grid and somebody just randomly got disqualified.
I know in EML we don't
Yeah,
use
restart. There's a restart.
in EML we're not using the formation lap no more, judging what happened earlier on. So I think this is yeah, I think the formation lap is completely justified to why it's been turned off, and we're having a restart. Then I'm on board with somebody, by the way, down. It's a Red Bull I'm on board with, so that's quite interesting. But now I'm off board with him. But yeah, everyone's leaving the session now, and we should have another restarted lobby. So, like in the Italian Grand Prix earlier this season, due to a car being disqualified, where Sonoda broke down, we're having another aborted start.
Yep. Let
I
me.
can't exactly leave the session either. Yeah, I can now if I want to. But
Yeah, okay.
we had a restart a few races ago, and I stayed in this. We all stayed in the session, and it works that way. But just in case if there's any glitches or more issues, we're going back to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix because that was a phenomenal race. I think you were racing too, were you, Julian?
Where?
Abu Dhabi, last time out.
Where? Last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was racing. I was in P4, I guess, and then had an accident, and then I just was like in P11 or something. Not great, but yeah, had good race pace. But yeah, not enough for to do something. I'm not
Uh,
I have a new invite.
Last time in Abu Dhabi, it was a battle for the lead between kart racer Kikowski and Brandox. Brandox is a great driver as well. I've also noticed him being up there quite a few times as well in that McLaren. And Kikowski was putting pressure on kart racer towards the end of the race, but kart racer just managed to defend from Kikowski as well and take that win from. I think he started in seventh at the time too, did kart racer, but just blitzed his way past us. Both McLaren split strategies. Actually, ETA didn't have a great race in Abu Dhabi, but due to the second safety car, they actually came back, and it also helped their races too. Because I think Life Bar was caught in a spin, maybe from TJ Boss. I do remember that incident down at turn 12 with two drivers being involved in an incident. I think it was Lifebar who spun, but with the safety car too, because the first safety car, I think Brandox was on older tyres and he stayed out there during that first safety car. And then after that, he fell down the order. But the second safety car came out. He was able to put onto a brand new set of mediums and was able to rejoin in that fight. So it did save his race, that second safety car, because it would have dropped like a stone if he didn't pit. So yeah, but it was a great race back in Abu Dhabi with the CPI, NLR, and ETA all scrapping it out as well, with you, Julian, driving in that race as well. But I think you lost a bit of pace towards the end in Abu Dhabi, didn't you?
No, I had an accident with one of the McLarens, I think it was, and then yeah, I got spun around.
Yeah,
Things
lucky.
happens, unfortunately. Yeah, Brandox is a great driver. He's with me in PCO F7. Um, he's very quick. I think he's P3 in the standings. P2 or P3, I don't know. But yeah, he's our ETA driver, right?
It's TJ Boss.
No, Brandox.
Yeah, Bundox is an ETA driver.
Yeah, yeah, he's very quick.
TJ Boss actually led the Hungarian Grand Prix. He was in the lead, but unfortunately he had loads of penalties that dropped down the order. So Matteo took the victory on the softcore pod tyres with car racer P2. So TJ Boss fell outside the podium and gave his teammate a podium, which was Kikowski. So Kikowski's been on the podium quite a few times this season already, as the first race was back at, I think it was, a Belgian Grand Prix. How can I forget that race? Because both McLarens came through. it was a great race before ETA. They kick-started the season really well. Then the Hungarian Grand Prix came and still continued their form. The Dutch Grand Prix I wasn't here for, and yeah, that's when it was all a mess with the sorting things out. It wasn't. I don't think the race was a mess, but it was sorting things out. That was the organisation when Bompier wasn't hosting the sessions, and I had to, but yeah, things didn't work out in the end.
Um, I'm going for a drink real quick. I'll be right back. Since we have to wait like 2 minutes, or I think 5 minutes maybe.
Yeah, TJ Boss. Hopefully, I'm sorry about you being bugged out of the session, and I know I don't think you were here for the last part of qualifying, so you couldn't really improve your position. I hope you have a good race, mate. You got a great pace, but yeah, you've been unlucky quite a few times this season. Yeah, but what about the Singapore Grand Prix? I presume, without any spoilers, we've all watched it. I think you all know the results by now, because we're all in Discord servers where we've seen what's happened at the Singapore Grand Prix. What do you think of it? Just let me know. We can have a discussion before the race starts to just kill the time, really. For my opinion, myself, I think Carlos Sainz, he drove brilliantly because using Lando Norris, not using him, but with Lando Norris in DRS, he disabled both Mercedes to get past. Because without Lando Norris in that DRS, Russell and Hamilton would have went through, and they would have challenged Sainz for the lead. So Sainz played it very tactically there to give Norris the DRS to keep both Mercedes behind. And what's amazing driving too from Sainz to get his first win since Silverstone last year at the British GP 2022 when Verstappen had that problem and Leclerc was on older hard compound tyres. But yeah, Sainz deserved that win. He was brilliant throughout the whole event since FP1 all the way to today. But he drove a brilliant race, he kept both Mercedes at bay. Liam Lawson also scoring his first points. I was watching the battle between P9 downwards with Perez, with Alex Albon, Joe Guan Yu, and Nico Hulkenberg, and Lawson in that top 10 when the safety car came in. You couldn't defend from Perez because obviously Perez was on fresh and medium compound tyres. Plus, with the speed of that Red Bull, he should get past an AlphaTauri with that front wing damage too. But Albon there, they made contact going under the Anderson Bridge, did Albon and Perez, and Perez went up the inside, and Albon had to take to the escape road, I think, and that's what cost Albon some points because he was trying to overtake Lawson, but Perez, I'm not quite sure if that was. I think he went down the inside. We've got a mixture of opinions here because some saying he was being dirty, some saying it was a great move and it was racing, but. Yeah, others got loads of different opinions, but overall, I think Singapore finally was a good race. No disrespect to Red Bull, of course, but the domination, well, the winning streak has ended for Red Bull. But for this track in Singapore, I think it will continue after Japan.
Yeah, do you think Red Bull's not dominating the season anymore?
I don't know. They talk about flexi wings. Like I didn't know this until the race because the flexi wings they weren't allowed anymore, I think, and I don't know if it was the track itself for Red Bull or the setup issue or what, but I think next week we'll give a true indication of like what Red Bull's pace actually is now and see if Ferrari can get closer. But I think Red Bull should still be up there, no doubt about it.
Yep, it's a different track, no street circuit anymore. But yeah, did you see the Albon Perez accident?
I saw on Twitter, mate. Yeah, Perez went lunge up the inside from a long way back and just tapped Alex out of the way.
Yeah, that wasn't very clean. No further investigation I saw, but that's weird.
What do you think about Lawson's performance?
Lawson, yeah, very great. First points. I think he needs a permanent seat in F1. My opinion, because yeah, he's a really talented driver, very young, instead of Ricciardo, who's already a bit older. But yeah, we'll see what they'll do. What's your opinion about that?
Yeah, Liam Lawson definitely deserves a seat. What he did at Zandvoort, just surviving the whole race too, and without any preparation, without any time to really relax because he missed FP2 and had to come with FP3 and Q1. So yeah, had no preparation whatsoever. But Monza, a little bit more time for him to just delve in and settle into the car. finished in P11, great result, and now Singapore P9. So yeah, Lawson showing what he could do. He's got some bragging rights on his CV now to try and join F1.
Yep, as Tsunoda. Did he crash? What happened to Tsunoda? He crashed, right? Or what happened to his car?
Perez went up the inside. Perez went up the inside of turn 5 and gave Tsunoda a punch. And then Tsunoda down at turn at the exit of turn 13, I think, just retired on the circuit, off the track.
Yeah.
Julian, did you think that both Mercedes were going to get through on Carlos Sainz?
I think Sainz did it very, very clever because he.
Oh,
we're
gonna have to go. Yeah, we're gonna have to go to the race. So we'll discuss that later. But here we are then for the Qatar Grand Prix. I take it majority had hard and applied their setups, but Erpek's got a decent start. We've got AlphaTauri pressurising Nikelepi for P3 into turn 1. You can see now Nikelepi is trying to go around the outside. He can't do it. His teammate Brandox is up the inside now as we head into turn number 2. Brandon trying to force his way through. There's a Red Bull. Williams going off the track there, they make contact and they've fallen down to the back of the field. Brandox has got past Fraser, and now Jimmy is under pressure from the Alpine right behind him, but he has to bail out of it, and IRT Bompy will take advantage, but can't do it. But up the inside goes Fraser into turn number 6. Can he make it stick? No, because Brandox has the outside line. Bompia is now fighting with Kwiatkowski as Kwiatkowski's trying to make up some amends after qualifying, but hasn't got past the Mercedes at all then. So lap 1, contact already. Both Williams at the back of the field there with Vita in P17. So not quite sure what happened to those guys, but they separated now from the rest of the field, and a lot of work to do from there if they want to score some decent points here tonight.
Yeah, big crash in the back as both LDL drivers collided with each other. I don't know if it was with each other, but I don't know. I don't really saw what happened. Yeah, decent start in front. Brandox passed Fraser. Oh, as there's a contact in the back. Sony, I think he spun or something. I don't really know what happened there. But yeah, airbag 2/10 in front. This is just DRS training now and saving ERS for later on.
Yeah, I lost my references there. I couldn't exactly find anything because my eyesight's not that great, so I need to put my glasses on. But here we are then. Oh, Bompia getting on the curb. He's out of shape. But Kwiatkowski might fancy a lunge now. Into turn 5 we go. But Bompia only tries to stick it down the inside. They're going to lose. Oh, did he get tapped or did he just rear lock the brakes? And now the Red Bull is making contact with Kwiatkowski. The GF10 driver, Quartz, is trying to go around the outside. Into turn 7 we go. Quartz around the outside, but can he make it stick? No, because Kwiatkowski has the racing line then. So they're separated from this DRS train now after Bompian's misfortunes, and he's into P7. His teammate is down in P12 under pressure from Twisted right behind, so it's very important to just stay in that DRS. Easier said than done around this high speed track. But Bompia then tries to get back in the DRS range before he becomes a sitting duck with the guys right behind him using him for the DRS. So he's 1.1, now he's 1 second, just to find a few more hundreds in this last sector to get himself a DRS. No DRS for the time being, but now we're heading on to the 1 kilometre straight. The DRS will be enabled on the next lap. Brandox is on the mediums. He opted to go on the hards. There's 2 drivers now on the medium compound tyres. Was that intentional or just a mistake? But however, he's opted to go a different route on the medium compound tyres there. Oh, look at Erpek going out wide at turn 1. I think he might have exceeded track limits there, so keep an eye on that one for sure. But Brandox on the medium compound tyres will be faster at this stage at the Grand Prix. Bompia not enabled to get in the DRS, so Kwiatkowski will be all over the back of him and continuously hounding him to try and get himself into P8 and try and follow the rest of the train, Julian.
Yeah, as they're already low DRS, Bompje is on 60%, and at the front almost everyone is on like 80/90%, so that's not ideal as he's already out of the DRS. So yeah, DRS enabled, and I think Kwiatkowski will get past the lap.
Heading into turn 10 then, on board with Kakowski, who's trying to hound Bompier. Bompier is trying to find his way back into the DRS train of Belby. Looks like he's done it as well. Belby up into P7 after gaining the place from the expense of Bompier as we head into this triple right-hander in these high-speed corners. You want to downshift as well because you want to be very careful with the high fuel now. Oh, Bompier there, very close towards exceeding track limits, but DRS is enabled on this lap. What will both McLarens do? The ETA drivers against NLR in this race. NLR and ETA. It's always great action between the two teams there, and let's see how they play out. Both AlphaTauris, by the way, still in P5 and P6, so they remain where they are for the time being, but it was very crucial for Brandox to make the move on Fraser to get ahead and not be stuck behind the AlphaTauri. But what will happen to both McLarens? Will Nicolapi let his teammate go and try and fight both Aston Martins? Easier said than done, of course, because both Aston Martins will use each other for DRS to allow themselves breathing space from the guys behind. So quite difficult to try and overtake those two with those two there in the DRS for each other. But Bompier again, not able to get in the DRS range. He's going to be under huge pressure from Kakowski as well. Looks like CPI not having a great race so far this afternoon because TJ Boss is in P11, Kakowski's in P9, so maybe not their strongest track, but we've got a yellow flag down there, and that's a Williams who's gone for a spin. That's Oni in P19 now, who's dropped it at the exit of turn 5 then, so he rejoins the back of the field as Bompier becomes the first driver to pick up a 3-second time penalty. Bompier was commentating alongside me last weekend. I bet he wishes now he does it again this weekend.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but my dad just asked me to go to dinner with him, so I have to do it. I can't deny it, and I'll be back in 10 minutes. So you have to do it on your own for 10 minutes. I'm sorry.
It's no worries, mate. No worries at all. So it's my solo comms for now. Yeah, you too, mate. And Kakowski looks like he's going to make a move then on Bompier as Oni picks up a 3-second time penalty. Looks like Red Bull might be coming through shortly as well. And now he's side by side with Bompier as we head into turn 1. Quartz is up into P9 with Bompier still around the outside then, not giving us up at all. He's quite low on the ERS after trying to get back in the DRS on Belby. Slight contact with the Red Bull and the Mercedes then. We continue into turn number 3. Now Kakowski is released and you can see the guys behind fighting over P9, but you can see the Red Bull just taking a lot of curve on the entry as Bompier has to stay in P10 for the time being then. So not great for Bompier, losing 2 places on the straight, and the guy behind him is another CPI driver as well. So fighting with CPI drivers is Bompier, but Kakowski being released into P8. Can he try and get himself back in that DRS range, I wonder? 1.3 is the gap. Now being released at the dirty air from Bompier, and got a lot of ERS in disposal too, for good measure, despite being out of the DRS. 1.3 is the gap then, so can he get himself back in that 1-second range and join the DRS train? Because if he does join the DRS train, it'll be a big DRS train from 1st all the way down to 13th then, as Kakowski just edging in. 1.1 is the gap, and he uses the ERS even more. It's quite hard to save ERS around here because you're on the throttle a lot of times on this on the course of the 5.3 kilometer circuit around here in Qatar, as Alex picks up a 3-second time penalty too. So Kakowski very close to DRS, but not close enough. He will lose a lot of time in the straight due to the guys ahead having that DRS. We can see the Alpine just moving on the straight there to see if he can overtake or not. But Bompier under pressure once again, and he loses another place on the same part of the track to a CPI driver of TJ Boss, who's up into P10 now, as he relegates Bompier down, as his teammate of Leroy is right behind him too. So let's see then, has Kakowski got the outright pace to just try and find his way back in that DRS? And more yellow flags, and AlphaTauri goes off the track. That is Fraser, who's just exceeded track limits, coming out of turn number 5 then, so costly for him as he runs out wide. And now let's see how it affects him during the entirety of this race. Still, both Aston Martin's doing a great job with 1st and 2nd. Opec giving the DRS towards his teammate to allow himself to defend from P3 on P4. Brandox, however, in P4 on the medium compound tyres. I think he went the same way back in Abu Dhabi. Maybe he was his teammate, I'm not quite sure. But however, he wasn't really able to capitalise on those medium compound tyres, only gaining 1 place at the start of the race. And he's stuck behind his teammate too, so not really making the gains he needs on those. Oh, that's a Ferrari there going off the track. Was that Kakowski? Yeah, it was there. So Kakowski there on the verge of picking up penalties too. But more importantly, I think a Red Bull shoe's gone off the track. I'm not about to say that either. So more importantly, he's got himself in the DRS train. Both AlphaTauris exchange positions then. So Jimmy up into P5. Release now to try and find a way past Bonpierre as both Mercedes exchange positions. Leroy up into P11, so Bonpierre continuously falling down in the order, unfortunately for the IRT driver there in P12, as Leroy is now released to chase after TJ Boss, who's putting pressure himself on quarters to P9. So a high speed chess, that's what it is. Just waiting for the latter stage of the race as Bonpierre picks up another 3 second time penalty then, so not going great at all for the IRT driver in the Mercedes, as both Aston Martins continuously leading this race, with both McLarens right behind too, but not able to make a lunge due to the DRS trainer being sandwiched in that DRS train too. Aston Martin have the advantage so far. Great battery as well for both of them, able to save a lot in their disposal, as Oni has retired in the pit lane then, so his struggles continue here in Qatar. But however, it's still Aston Martin's out in front. Apologies for the background noise if you did hear that. But TJ Boss all over the back of the Red Bull. You can see the Red Bull derating then as he desperately wants to get himself in that DRS range, but nothing doing whatsoever now with the low battery he has in that Red Bull. We're not able to gain anything at all. It's so frustrating because that all kicked off when Bonpierre and Kwiatkowski went side by side, and it split up the train a bit as Boss then makes a move on the Red Bull as he moves himself now up into P9. Oh, there's a Williams coming out of the pit lane. He just retired in the pit lane, didn't he? So that was very close for contact for TJ Boss, and the rest of them behind having to take evasive action from the Red Bull. That's a Williams, sorry, who's retired in the pit lane, not a Red Bull. But however, there's your leader then, Opek, doing a great job for NLR to maintain P1 with his teammate right behind him, both preserving the ERS, of course, later on for the race as well from the attack from the ETA boys. So one big DRS train forming, but this should be very interesting when it comes to the pit stops. You all know Brandox will be pitted early to get off those medium compound tyres, as he's not able to leapfrog the guys ahead and needs to make the gains he needs to try and pull away. This high speed chase of DRS not able to take advantage no matter what tyres you're on, as the remaining formation for the time being is both AlphaTauris also following with interest. Belby's doing a great job as well in P7 for RCR, whereas his teammates having the opposite way round effect, with him being in P18 and currently last so far, but still in this race, which is crucial because you never know if a safety car could make an appearance. So we head on to lap 9 then, out of 29, 20 laps to go. When will the pit stops start happening for all these drivers? As they all continue to follow through. TJ Boss in P9 there, so he's behind his teammate, but still at the DRS range. Will Kwiatkowski drop back ever so slightly to allow TJ Boss? It's going to be a big ask for him, but in these high-speed corners where Dirtier can affect the car's balance behind, he may be able to claw his way back in, but still on the straights he will lose a lot of time, or TJ Boss. So Bonpierre's fallen down into P13 now, with Twisted overtaking him, so he moves himself up into P12. He's currently putting pressure on the other IRT driver. I'm just trying to figure out which driver's missing, so I don't think Twisted actually has a teammate, does he? So he's running a lonely race in P12, doing his best bit to try and gain some points in the championship for his team is Twisted. A one-horse race for him out there, whereas his teammate is not here. Maybe the person in the chat wants an invite was supposed to be racing, but I couldn't get him in, unfortunately. So all the managers will keep an eye on Twisted to see how he does in P12, if he can try and gain some more positions. As you can see, Bonpierre there very struggling quite a lot on the circuit. But yeah, both Aston Martins then doing a phenomenal job so far, currently in P1 for the time being. But when will it change hands? When I think the guys in the ETA team might want to consider doing an undercut first before the Aston Martins do a pit stop later on in this race. It all should get spicy from there, but we'll see who triggers the undercut first. I think yesterday when I was commentating for EOR in USA, I think the leader, the person in second place, pitted before first, and Bonpierre's got a 3 second time penalty too, so Bonpierre there winning the penalties so far, as Alex Ramos has got another 3 second time penalty unfortunately for him in that back of the field in the Haas. One big DRS train from first down to 8th as TJ Boss continuously losing time. But Belby also P7, it looks like he's lost a bit of time. But it looks like he's gained it back immediately to just stay within all that important 1 second range of DRS. The mediums was Brandox. Did he meant to start on those? Maybe this restarted lobby. Maybe both ETA drivers had a little bit of a chat and says we'll split strategies to see what happens. Maybe that could be the case. Did he forget to put on the hards? Because he was running the hards in the first lobby, but decided to go on the mediums in his second lobby. So let's see if that was his pit stop or not. But you can see Kekowski then making a lunge as Belby is vulnerable and exposed with no DRS ahead of him. And now Kekowski lunges into P7 as Bompier unfortunately has retired from the race then. So that's him done and dusted. And he will not be happy with that one whatsoever. Maybe I'll give him an invite to the party to commentate alongside me if he wants to. Give us an insight to see what all these drivers are doing. When nothing's happening so far, I'll give a quick invite. I don't think any positions have been lost or gained then, so they all remained as they are. With Kekowski now back in this DRS train with the helping hand of the DRS. So Bompier has been invited to the party and can give us insight on what's going on during the races. And apparently TJ Boss has got a 3-second time penalty, but I've just seen in a Discord server that Sergio Perez has a 5-second time penalty for an incident with Alex Albon. I saw it in the Discord server, so I'm not quite sure if it's official or not, but if he has got a 5-second time penalty, where was Liam Lawson during the last part of the race? I think it was a bit too far back because Perez was on the mediums and Lawson was on the hards, but yeah, we'll see if that's actually being announced or not. Very quiet during this part of the race, but it should be very interesting in the later stages as they all settle down and just follow each other in that one big DRS train before we start going on the medium compound tyres. And IRT Leroy has moved ahead of Quartz there. They're going side by side now. Let's see how it all unfolds as we head into turn 7 going into 8, but it looks like Quartz then has remained in P10 ahead of IRT Leroy and under huge pressure himself. TJ Boss has dropped back quite dramatically with 3 seconds then, so not able to claw his way back in as he would have wanted, but both ETA drivers getting very close for comfort too, with Brandox on the back of his teammate. I thought those two would swap positions, being that Brandox was on the mediums. Looks like he's diving into the pit lane then, so let's see then how this plays out for him in the pit lane. He goes onto the hard compound tyres, should rejoin in clear air with no problems whatsoever as the pit lane is 80 kilometers an hour. I'm intrigued to know what the Qatar Grand Prix circuit is like in the actual F1 races. We know we had it in F1 2021 with Lewis Hamilton winning, with Verstappen in second and Alonso in third. We've only seen one race in Qatar so far. 2022, I think it was the World Cup, and obviously we're going to have a race here around Qatar because it was hosted back at the Qatar Grand Prix. Back in Qatar, where the whole the World Cup was hosted. As Quartz there putting pressure on TJ Boss now, making his way up through the field is the GT10 driver. Apologies if I did say GF10, got a bit confused there. Wasn't quite reading the name properly, so apologies about that one. Looks like Bob. Oh, looks like his signer coming out of turn number 7 there, so very careful. But remains in P9 as we head into 10. This left-hander can catch people out with track limits too. We've seen a lot of warnings and penalties so far in this race, so it's very crucial for the guys ahead not to pick up any penalties. And talk about penalties, Alex has also picked up another one to his collection. Who's winning in terms of penalties? Let's have a look. It is Alex winning in penalties, along with Oni in P9. Bob Pierce retired then, so... And look at that then, position changes as Giovanno is in the pit lane then. So this is what I was talking about with second place pitting, the second driver pitting out of this bunch. As pit starts will start happening to now, Brandox, where will he rejoin? He's right behind Alex, so let's see if he can get past him easily. He should do with the freshness of those hard compound tyres as he pulls the right hand side now. DRS enabled for the McLaren of Brandox going side by side with the Haas, just using a bit more ERS to edge forward. And there is Fraser in the background. There's Giovanno, and he overtakes the Aston Martin now with the Haas in between. There is Giovanno. The undercut has worked, but bearing in mind though, Giovanno is on the medium compound tyres, so he'll be flying through this stage. First, he needs to overtake a Haas who's an obstacle in the way as he pulls the right hand side, overtakes the Haas and moves himself up into P12. Next target is Brandox, is on the hard compound tyres then, so Brandox will find a little bit difficult to defend from this, with Giovanno on the fresher medium compound tyres then, so you can see the undercut there coming into play with Giovanno up to P12 and Brandox at P11. So let's see how the teammates do. Erpek will come into the pit lane, I presume, at the end of this lap. No, he won't. He'll stay out there with Nickelope pitting then. So, looks like Nickelope is responded to the undercut from Giovanno and also tries to undercut Erpek. Jimmy's in the pit lane too, as you expect. Kikowski stays out there for another lap time. So, let's see. We'll go on board with Brandox to see how it all unfolds during the end of the pit lane. This should get super close indeed. And Brandox knows he'll be under huge pressure at the second phase of this race because of the guys on the medium compound tyres. Here we are, Brandox rounds the final corner with Giovanno at the back of his on the back of his tail, with the Haas and AlphaTauri go side by side. That's Fraser, by the way, he's just came out of the pit lane, overtaken, but Brandox has the fastest lap of the race, and here we are then, Brandox is in P7 ahead of the Aston Martin. So look at the undercut, where's Fraser going to rejoin? They're both AlphaTauris there, don't want to fire too hard obviously, being teammates with each other. And Fraser rejoins just ahead of Jimmy there. Did Jimmy get compromised with the Haas, I wonder? Definitely delayed his progress to catch up to the field was Jimmy by the Haas, as the Haas was not willing to give up any positions whatsoever. So let's see how this race has turned out. I dare say Erpek will get undercut for these guys. How great is his pace in clean air? He will use everything in his disposal to pull away now if he can. Battles going on there with the Alpine and the Williams then with Aizu versus Belby. Belby has also pitted, so that was a very crucial move. He's outside the DRS range of those guys originally in the top 7 there. With Nickelope then, where is the Aston Martin? He's 2.1 seconds. That's Giovanno, sorry. He's putting huge pressure on the McLaren as Kikowski and Erpek and Boss are in the pit lane then for their pit stops. But Giovanno is all over the back of Brandox. Can Brandox try and... This could be quite difficult, you know, with this circuit. I was about to say, can Brandox edge Giovanno into the path of Nickelope, but it could be quite difficult. Here we go then on the straight. Giovanno will overtake with ease on the McLaren there with the DRS. But where is Erpek? Erpek has came out of the pit lane. And let's see where we join. The AlphaTauri now is going around, down the inside, sorry. Got a bit caught up there. I was trying to figure out who's who. With Fraser up into P3 then. So Erpek's lost a few positions as Alex retired in the pit lane then. And this has changed the whole phase of this race now. Erpek on fresher tyres in comparison to everybody. When Julian comes back into the session, or when he comes back into the commentary box, you can see Fraser quite low on ERS too, so he's used a lot of ERS on his outlaps to try and undercut those guys. He's up into P3, 1.5 seconds away from Brandox and Giovanno. But Giovanno now is the lead car into P1, with Erpek there down into P5, with Jimmy following along very shortly as well. So let's see if it all pays dividends for Erpek then. Will the 2-lap fresher tyres be beneficial for him later on in this race? 2 laps can make a big difference, you know, on the game itself. Maybe not in real life, but in the game. With this module, I think it can make a big difference. As Julian Janssen has returned, so hopefully you had a great dinner.
Yeah, it was really good. Nice fries.
So, Jimmy's got a penalty. IRT Nevo's got a penalty too. So, if you're wondering, Julian, these guys have made their pit stops, and Fraser is about to be overtaken by Nickelope, who moves up into P3 now, ahead of the AlphaTauri. So, just in case you're wondering, I'll give you a quick rundown of what's been happening. So, Erpek pitted later than the others, hence why he's down in P5 being undercutted. Giovanno pitted first out of the leading train. It was actually Brandox who pitted first because he's on the medium, switching over to the hard. So, he undercutted all of them, but Giovanno got his way past as the Red Bull Boss and Leroy going side by side. This is tantalising close between all of them. Belby is on the back of Kakowski as well for P7. Kakowski's lost a lot of time too, so I wonder what happened to him as he's under pressure from Belby. But yeah, I think Kakowski's lost a lot of time due to pitting very later. He pitted the same lap on lap 15 I think it was with Erpek, so those two pitted at the same time, hence why he's lost a bit of time. So with his tyres being fresher towards the end, I wonder if he can claw his way back to for Ferrari for CPI too to gain some points ahead of NLR, because those two are having a close battle of the championship. So it's going to be very spicy for here. And then Erpek all over the back of the AlphaTauri's. Boss picks up another penalty.
Okay. Airpack pitted later. Yeah, Airpack pitted later with Katkowski. Oh, as you can see, everybody's on low ERS.
Look at Erpek. Look at Erpek. I think he's about to make an overtake on the AlphaTauri. The AlphaTauri is derating.
No ERS. Yep. On the inside, and there. Oh, they have to watch out for Nicolopi. How do you say that?
Nicolopi.
Nicolopi. Switchback. Oh, that's a nice switchback. As he's got more ERS, a little bit of slipstream. But Frey's is defending very good. He already got a time penalty. Let me check. Penalties. Yeah, TJ was with 9 seconds, Zeppi with 6, and most of the drivers with 3.
I thought Erpek would have just shot straight past the AlphaTauri, judged by his ERS status in that AlphaTauri.
Yeah,
He's low on ERS, but he had great defence there for Fraser in turn 5 to defend from Erpek, but this will cost him a lot of time as well. Nicolo in P3 there, just trying to edge towards Brandox now. If Nicolo can just edge towards Brandox, get in that DRS range, he's also on the medium compound tyres too, so he should be able to get himself in the DRS range, which he has. So both McLarens in P2 and P3 there putting pressure on Giovanno. As you can see, Giovanno's not able to pull away from the DRS on those mediums against Brandox. Here comes Erpek once again. It should be easy pickings now with the ERS that Fraser has on board with the AlphaTauri. And up into P4 he goes.
He used quite a bit of ERS. I think he was on 50. Oh, his TJ was DNF'd. Oh, there was a retirement in the pits. I think he knew he had enough penalties, so he wouldn't get anywhere with that much. But yeah, Airpack makes his move through the field. Looking very good for the both McLarens on P2 and P3. As Brandox is on hards? Yeah, he's on hards. So as long as they can stay in the DRS of each other, I don't think Airpack will get past. Unless he makes a move in the corners, but I don't think he will make a move on the straight because everyone has DRS.
Yeah, so Brandox, if you wonder, I was also wondering too if this was intentional to go on the hard compound mediums, because in the first lobby he went on the hards, now in the second lobby he went on the mediums, so I wonder if both ETA drivers spoke to each other and just decided to split strategies to make their strategy work. But I was mentioning Brandox, who was 4th at the time, wasn't able to get past the guys ahead. He was stuck in that big DRS train on the medium, so didn't really capitalise. But with that undercut being powerful around here in Qatar, was able to take the net P1 away until Giovanni overtake him on the straight. And now he's got Nicolo right behind. Both AlphaTauris exchanging positions then, so Jimmy is up into P5 now ahead of Fraser. Let's see if that works out for them, because both AlphaTauris now just drifting away from the top 4, NLR versus ETA. So this is going to be so close between both McLarens and both Aston Martins. But Erpek, out all 3 of them, has got the freshness of those medium compound tyres then. So Nicolo, let's see how ETA play this out versus NLR. You can see Erpek's pace is just mighty. Ever since he overtaken Fraser, he was able to close on the back towards these guys, and his pace has been phenomenal too. So him staying out later as well also benefits him with those tyres towards the end being fresher and more alive than comparison to everybody else. So he's got some mighty pace, has Erpek.
Yep, I think Erpek is in a very good position, but don't forget Gifano, because he's on 2 lap older mediums, but he's got more ERS to play with. So that's interesting. He's got like 20% more ERS than the guys behind him. So that's interesting as well. I don't think it really matters 1 lap 1 or 2 lap difference, but Brandock's on the medium, so that's not ideal. He's on the hard, so that's not ideal for him. But that's as Nicolopi makes a move down the inside of his teammate. Do you think that's the plan? Speak to each other and let each other by?
Yes, I think so, because you saw Brandox, he did not open the DRS down the straight. I think he did, but turned it off to allow his teammates to just go through. Obviously, doesn't want to lift off the throttle because you don't want to allow Urpeg pass. So I think this is strategic play from both McLarens. Allow the medium runner to go past and put pressure on Giovanni. But look at that, you can see that Urpeg all over the back into turn 6. Did he make contact? Would he go for a switchback against the Harvester? Here we go then into turn number 7. He switches to the inside line but stays behind for the time being then. So mighty close there. Can Brandox do his teammate a favour and try and keep Urpeg at bay? It's going to be easier said than done, of course. Urpeg on those medium compound tyres also along with his mighty pace, so you can see they're carrying more speed to the corners as Brandox does not have the tyres to do that at all, carrying more speed. He keeps Urpeg at bay for the time being, but Kikowski is brought back into play now. He's in this DRS train too, with these guys budging each other up. So Kikowski on those fresher mediums, keep an eye on him. Let's see what he can do. 1 or 2 laps fresher mediums can make a little bit of a difference because the game module is not that quite accurate like it is in real life. But Urpeg all over the back of Brandox now. Will he force a lunge into turn 1? He has to. He can't afford to be stuck behind McLaren because he allowed Nicolopi to try and overtake Giovanni. But here we go. Both of them having DRS. You can see Brandox on the inside forcing Urpeg to go around the outside into turn 1. Late to the brakes are both of them. Does Urpeg have the grip to go around the outside? He's still there. He gets edged off the track and he gets a 3-second time penalty. Wow, that's going to be controversial, but he does the same thing to Brandox. Well. Nicolopi gets a penalty too. Brandox also off the track there too, with not enough space, but Brandox still on the inside. Here we go, into turn number 6 here, and turn 5 and turn 6, sorry. Getting confused between the corner numbers here. But here we are then, Brandox still on the inside. Look who's behind, that's Fraser, Jimmy, right behind too, but also picks up a 3-second time penalty. Urpeg still alongside as we head down into turn number 7. When will they end this battle? Brandox trying to stick around the outside into turn 8. Now heading into turn number 9 we go. Brandox still around the outside. It was so close there. He goes off the track once again. Might get another warning for that one. He's not got a penalty just yet, but look at the close racing between all those guys there. Got a bit iffy at some parts of the track with tactical racing trying to give each other a penalty.
Yep, and suddenly Kwiatkowski is in a podium position because of the penalties ahead. Although I think Urpeg can remove his penalty if he won't get another warning, because that was pushing because he was pushed wide by Brandox. But Kwiatkowski is in a but Brandox got a penalty as well. So that's very interesting. Now Kwiatkowski is in net P2. That's very, very interesting. Let's see if drivers can remove it, but we will see later. As Jimmy is fighting with Brandox.
Yeah, the battle for the lead of this race is intensifying. Sorry to cut through there. We can see both of them going side by side now. You can see McLaren has to cut the corners, contact too with the AlphaTauri. Oh my goodness!
Spin!
Oh, that was not going to end well. They were both fighting so hard, and Brandox there, yeah, the AlphaTauri and the McLaren got too close for comfort. That'll go down to the stewards. I'm not saying anything about that one. All I'm going to say, that was very close racing between the two, and none of them willing to yield. But now his teammates left exposed in first place because he's got both Aston Martins right behind him. Giovanni has not got a 3-second time penalty, so he's looking really comfortable in P2 so far. What about Kwiatkowski and Fraser? Lost a lot of time due to those battles too. They're further behind. Kwiatkowski put Fraser under huge pressure. One AlphaTauri gone and one McLaren gone too. And let's see then if the Nicolopi can just try and defend from these guys.
Yep, if Urpeg can remove his penalty, they're in a perfect position for net 1 P2 right now. Let's see if Gifano uses, he uses ERS, and that's the easy move on the straight, as Nicolopi is not using. Maybe Urpeg will get past as well. He's using around the outside. As Nicolopi defends, Urpeg leaves room on the outside, and he almost spins!
I think Kwiatkowski's got past too. Yeah, he has. Kwiatkowski's got past the AlphaTauri. We just saw in the background there at the shot when we were on board with the rear wing of Giovanni, giving us a lovely view of Urpeg and Nicolopi going side by side. But unfortunately, Nicolo has almost spun the car at turn 1 but saved it. and he's lost the place now towards Erpek. They're back where they were during the first part of the race then, with Nickelope in P3 there and not able to do anything about it. Both Aston Martins will work together with DRS. You can see Erpeg having to use a lot of the ERS. The battle for 4th place is still continuing there with Fraser and Brandox on those hard compound tyres not having the grip with the rest of them and just really struggling there. As you can see, NLR will be absolutely happy about this. Their drivers once again putting on an amazing performance so far. Great driving from all the NLR drivers so far this season. They've done a great job of strategy, teamwork as well. But it's not over yet because they've still got penalties. We never know if Giovanni could pick up a penalty too. But Nickelope, can he hold on to this battle? Yes, he will with the DRS. But is there any way past? I wonder. Erpek can save ERS right behind his teammate. But what about Nicolo? Will he try and overtake him, or will he just stay behind him for the time being and see what happens? You can see both Aston Martins then swapping. And let's see if Nickelope just try and find a way past. No, he can't. Stays behind for the time being. But before that's to go in this race, how will it all unfold between all these guys? Kikowski there putting pressure on Fraser. Still, their battle hasn't ended. Kikowski's tyres are much fresher than the guys around too, so not able to make a move. But the top three ever so close. Who will come out on top, I wonder? I think NLR have a better chance with only one McLaren there, with both NLR drivers can work together to try and keep that McLaren behind, as the GT10 driver Vita picks up a 3-second time penalty. And yeah, once again, apologies for the confusion there between GF10 and GT10. I've been used to saying GF10 for a long time, as Brandox picks up another penalty as well. As Kikowski's under pressure, putting pressure, sorry, as Brandox has made a mistake out of turn 7, so it looks like he's struggling on those hard compound tyres. Maybe he's got a bit of damage too after all the battles he's been involved in so far. Also, cuts in the corner there too for good measure, so not going his way whatsoever. So the medium compound tyres was the wrong choice. Mediums to hards wasn't going to work due to no safety cars. If there was a safety car, depends when it will come out. But no safety cars so far, and it's cost the ETA driver, where his teammates are left alone in P3, having to think about how to get past the two, with those two just working together. But you can see Erpek quite low on ERS as well, so this is going to be great, because towards the last few laps of this race, you can see Fraser being overtaken by Kikowski once again. The last lap of the race, I think Giovanni might have a go at his teammate there. He might have to, because Nickelope will force the pressure to try and force him to overtake his teammate. And towards the later stage, I think Giovanni might come on top as well. So he's got a lot of ERS at his disposal to defend against Nickelope P3. As Julian, still there?
Yep. I am still here.
I was just wondering, because you weren't speaking for some time, but ever since you came back, have you enjoyed this race?
Yeah, I did. Bell will be in P6. It's in the 3 seconds range of Fraser, so he will move. Gatkowski will get a podium if it stays so.
Yeah, it will. Despite where he started, Kikowski in P4 to P9 to P4 will get a penalty if a podium if he doesn't pick up a penalty himself, or he doesn't drop out the 3-second range. So Kikowski's still on for a podium, by the way. Maybe second place, a bit too much of a stretch actually. Let's have a look. 3.5, so only P3.
Yep. He needs to get some time right there, otherwise he won't get the P3. Only three drivers without a penalty is insane.
I knew penalties were due to bound during this race. It was inevitable that some drivers were going to pick up penalties, as Kikowski once again forcing the pressure on Fraser. The more these two squabble, the unlikeliness of the podium chance for Kikowski. So yeah, Kikowski there having to dispose the AlphaTauri, but can't do it. Fraser's driving a great race as well in P4. Both WRL drivers, not to have to mention it, been up there, but unfortunately for Jimmy in P9 there after that contact with Brandox, falling into P9. So it's a shame, but still both AlphaTauris have shown some amazing pace too. And Twisted picks up a 3-second penalty, who hasn't got a teammate this race, so just a one-horse race for him there in the Alfa Romeo. Not able to use the DRS of anybody, well, not able to have the team play with anybody, but has the choice of strategy by himself. Not having to worry about who's pitted first, and he's currently down in P10. There's also penalties to his name. You can see Chavano there, 1 second outside of DRS then, yep. So it's nip and tuck between the two. Very close to edging outside the DRS. and Nicola P might fancy a chance once again, bearing in mind he has got a 3-second time penalty. But he's actually outside the DRS range now, and
Yeah, you still have it.
Nicola knows it too. With the DRS on board with McLaren, he knows that the Aston Martin is DRS on the straight, so might fancy a chance, but bearing in mind though, he's got that 3-second time penalty over his name, and he's got to watch out for P4 too, just in case that he might not pick up a podium. But bearing in mind though, Fraser's 3.5 behind, so Kwiatkowski, it's cost him dearly, because he's squabbling with these guys between P4 to P7 on not able to close in that he needs to try and get that podium.
Oh, as Gifano picks up a warning there, let's see how many warnings he has. 2 warnings. So if he gets one more in one lap, also got a penalty, but he's still in the DRS range. No problem for him.
We're heading on to lap 28. One more lap to go after this one, so let's see if Nicolo will overtake the NLR driver of Giovanni Erpek. Has checked out in front in P1. Now it's down to these two. Giovanni has to be very careful. He can't afford to fight too hard against Nicolo, knowing that he doesn't have a penalty. One more warning. That's a penalty for him. So in this last lap, 5.3 kilometers to go. Got to keep it nice and tiny, has Giovanni, to make sure he doesn't fall behind Nicolo. He'll get overtaken the straight, but he just needs to stay within that 3-second window of Nicolo, which should be easy, because he can't pull a massive gap in one lap. And here we go then, Nicolo up into P2, Giovanni in P3, but he doesn't have to fight it out. But here comes Kwiatkowski, up into P4 he goes once again, but the gap is too much now to try and get a podium. And in this last part of the lap, he has to pull out a mighty lot of time if he wants to get that podium, but it's going to be quite unlikely now, as Giovanni there in P3 knows it'll be a 1-2 for him. So lap 29, this race has absolutely flown by, with the battles between ETA and LLR. Twisted has been overtaken by Leroy as he's back inside the top 10, with those carrying a lot of penalties. Belby, I forgot to mention him, he's also driven a fantastic race as well. He's under huge pressure. He's overtaking Fraser into turn 6. Into turn 7 we go. He's back down the inside. There's Brandox, a bit of contact. He almost loses it. Look at that. Brandox comes through as well. Those two were tagging wheels. And now Brandox is back up into P5 with Fraser in P6 then. So mighty close between the three drivers there, fighting for P5. There's all of them picking up penalties there. But yeah, looks like Fraser then, Belby lost out big time, losing 2 places there from P5 to
corner.
P7. Yeah, in one corner indeed.
SG Airpack goes around the final corner to win. Oh no, he doesn't win because Gifano wins.
Yeah, here comes Erpet then. He'll finish in P1. Let's have a look at the gap for the leader, 2.8. It'll belong to Gifano. Gifano wins the Qatar Grand Prix ahead of Kwiatkowski in P4. Brandox in P5 ahead of Belby. Brandox falls down to P7 due to penalties. Quartz, GT10 driver, finishes in P8 ahead of Jimmy. And Jimmy displaces him, moves himself up into P9 ahead of Jimmy. So what a race that was between all those guys. Gifano, I think Erpek tried to go. Look at the gap! 1/10 between Erpek and Gifano. I think Erpek really tried to push it on the medium compound tyres. He almost did it. That was so close between Erpek and Gifano there. But unfortunately for him, he couldn't do it as Belby has left the session then. And that's going to mix up the results. But what a fantastic drive from NLR. If Erpek won this race, wow, drive of the day for sure, but despite those penalties. But Gifano deserves it as well. And he got a puncher. Is that a puncher? Yeah, he's got a right front puncher there. So, Gifano, 16 lap all tyres. He's got a right front puncher, but he's won the race anyway, so it doesn't matter. Puncher.
Oh. He's so lucky. That's really lucky.
One more lap, he would have fallen down to the back of the pack. But Gifano there, like in 2021 with Valtteri Bottas and Nicholas Latifi picked up those punchers. Gifano picked up a puncher himself, but he's so unlucky there that the line came to him in time.
Yep, very enjoyable race. What's your opinion?
I enjoyed it too. It was a great strategy call from NLR, and Erpek there staying out later to benefit him later on in the race too. And yeah, great driving from both of them. ETA and NLR having a great battle too, with WR there too, but also been involved in contact. Belby, what a great drive from him as well. I've not had the best in races in the last 2 races either, but came back strong. he actually fell down to P14, but he wasn't there initially. He was up there in P4, P5, and P6 territory. But NLR drove a
Yep.
brilliant race. They'll extend their gap over CPI. CPI's lost a lot of points, but Kakowski from P9 to P4, not bad. Maybe not his strongest track. So CPI have got a lot of work to do. With WOR looking at the rear way too.
Yep, they may be even first NLR or not.
I don't know.
Oh, ETA is big of a gap.
I don't know the points, mate. So maybe NLR will edge closer towards ETA, but NLR looks like in the second part of this season are starting to close in on ETA. So ETA got a lot of worries about with NLR closing in.
Yep. They are closing in, but not enough, as I can see now. ETA with 74 points and NLR 41. So no, won't be enough for this round, but
Anyways, that's it from us at the Qatar Grand Prix. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. My name has been IRT Indigo, and next to me is IRT Julian Janssen, a great racer and also a good commentator too. Second time he's ever done commentary, so give a massive praise to him because I know how overwhelming it is to be in a commentary box with a lot of people watching. So great job there from you, Julian.
yeah, I tried my best. I don't think it was my best performance, but I tried.
It was a good performance. I enjoyed it.
Thanks, mate.
You're welcome, and thank you for all for tuning in. GT10, thank you for tuning in as well, supporting your drivers, Grand Track 10, and hopefully you all enjoyed the race. And we'll see you all next time out the next circuit. I did look at the calendar, by the way, but instantly forgot. Just typical of me to forget at the most important times. I'll have a look at the calendar right now and tell you all what the next race is. So we just had Qatar, Australia Grand Prix, so that should be interesting with 4 DRS zones around there, after the track got modified back in 2022 to get rid of that chicane at turn 7 and turn 8. So let's see then what happens at the Australian Grand Prix. And we'll see you all next Sunday, depending on who the commentator is for next Sunday. It will definitely be me, but if it's Pompey or Julian, I don't mind.
Maybe I'll drive.
I don't mind who it is, but yeah, if you are driving, Julian, good luck, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Hopefully you all had a good weekend too. I hope you all enjoyed the Singapore Grand Prix, which was an incredible race. And we'll see you all next time for the Australian Grand Prix, moving over